All right, welcome everybody. Thank you for joining us. Another edition of the Virtual Entrepreneur interview series. We like to do this every Friday, preferably at 12 noon Eastern. I like to bring on different guests from different backgrounds, different industries. We've had a focus recently on real estate, obviously, with all that's happening in the market. We've brought on seven-figure agents, seven-figure investors. And I guess sticking with that topic, we have a seven-figure entrepreneur, my good friend Troy Landwehr. What's up, Troy? I think you're muted.
How you doing, bud? It's good to be here.
Good.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
So wait, I see boats in the background. So are you in? I know Troy lives between Vegas and Maine, so I'm assuming you're in Maine, right?
I am in Maine. Yes. Yeah.
Why aren't you in Vegas? Just out of curiosity. We know why you're not.
In a couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks. Yeah.
So Troy, obviously you and I met a few years ago. We've worked on a few different projects together. We have a few different things we're working on in different industries, et cetera. Guys, for those of you who don't know Troy, and I'll let him give you his, background, but Troy is an incredible entrepreneur. He's involved in numerous different things, very successful individual. We met, I guess, probably about 3 years ago, give or take, maybe a little less, and, connected right away. It's funny. It's one of those things where when you meet people, you just know if they're like you. You know those high-level entrepreneurs. You know people who just think outside the box, people that just go against the grain. And Troy is definitely one of them. But Troy, for the people who don't know who you are, which is probably quite a few, I'm going to be sending this out. We're streaming Facebook, YouTube, etc. Tell us a little bit about your background, who you are.
Well, Brian, it's an honor to be on here on Facebook and Instagram Live and on your YouTube channel. Thank you for having me. I just think you're such a great guy and inspiration, and everything that you've gone through with your battle of cancer, and you're just a wonderful guy. And so we're both believers, and I love that as well, that we're both brothers in Christ. And so that's awesome. So my background is I'm just a guy from Maine. That's a lobster boat in back of me. Okay. But, I had a borderline learning disability. I had a hard time graduating high school, and I flunked out of college. But I always knew that from the Bible, success leaves clues, as Proverbs, as iron sharpens iron, one man sharpens another. So I always battled to try to get around the right people, even though there was a good part of my life, Brian, where I didn't have confidence. I didn't really, I'm really nothing. I say I'm nothing special. We're all special in God's eyes, but I'm truly in Maine. And, when we met, we do a Zoom, you see fox and geese in my backyard. And, but I just got around the right people and learned some principles and some habits, and realized that there's an extraordinary amount of people that felt like me, didn't feel worthy, didn't feel valued, didn't think they were going to go anywhere. All my family is teachers, Brian. And for me not to have a college education when my mom's a teacher, my aunt, my uncle, my grandma, my dad and my grandfather were pastors, so there's education there. For me not to get, I felt like I let my family down. But there's so many people that don't have that college education that have used other platforms to learn, and some very successful people. And with that said, I think money is a tool.
Just to clarify, did you drop out of college, or you just never went at all?
I dropped out. I tried. I tried my best. I did.
Hey, I'm a proud dropout too. I did 1 year of community college after high school because I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. So everybody's like, go to college. I went to community college. I did a year, right? 2 semesters. And that summer is when I was diagnosed with cancer. So that
wow.
Stopped my college journey. And initially I thought I was going to go back, and obviously, life took me a different path. I never went back. So it's interesting, but yeah. So welcome to the Dropout Club. Quite a few.
Yeah. Well, we believe in education, but education, I'll just say that 60% of college students don't read a book after college. So if you're willing to catch up to them, you keep reading a book, on different things that can help you advance in life, and listen to audios. If you do what successful people do, you'll have what successful people have, but you got to be willing to sacrifice. And, that's the key. And I've been able to do that and make a lot of money right from home. And that's where my passion is. And that's kind of like while we talk, you talked about the virtual entrepreneur. I mean, Brian, you're just doing some amazing things. And I think more than ever, people want to make money from home, and they don't want to be dependent on heading into a brick and mortar place and having their options limited. More options is better than less options. And so to be able to work from home and help other people work from home, is just, you know how rewarding that is, because you've helped countless a number of people, and you've affected a lot of change. You've affected a lot of people's lives because, you know, during these hardships that we're going through, so many people are struggling right now. So many people are struggling, and to have money coming in that's not dependent on somebody else or the government or their work, where they can continue to work from home. You know, the phone is the new TV and the TV is the new radio. And so you and I are in agreement that, you know, I'll just say this. I know I could go on a rampage, but, you know, Amazon isn't the biggest and baddest because they sell different products. They sell the same things that Colgate, Walmart does, and Target, the same Colgate toothpaste, the same toilet paper. It's because they have a better platform. And so that's why you, on your virtual entrepreneur, we have to learn that things have changed. People are doing things from Uber and Lyft, and took out Yellow Cab, and, you know, people are doing more through Netflix instead of Blockbuster. The world is going home-based business and virtual. So you definitely you're on the forefront of something really special that can help people.
Well, it's interesting, you know, this whole situation that we're in right now, this whole lockdown, I think it's really opened up a lot of people's eyes. You know, my neighbor, as an example, my neighbor is an IT guy. He's a, you know, computer programmer, et cetera. And he used to commute every day, you know, get on the train, drive 30 minutes, get on the train, another 40 minutes to go into Center City, Philadelphia, there and back. And he's been working remotely, working from home. So, and again, he's a salaried employee, so that didn't change. But it's interesting because he works for MetLife. He worked for a smaller firm. They were bought out by MetLife. Mm-hmm. And I asked him, I said, his name is Dimitri. I said, so what has actually changed in your company? And he said, you know what, Brian? He said, interestingly enough, nothing. Because all the traders are working remotely. All the IT people are supporting it remotely. The higher, you know, C-level management are overseeing things. They have their Zoom meetings. And he said, really, nothing changed. And it's something he said to me. He's like, you know, it makes me wonder, like, why do we need an office at all? You know, and I think it's interesting that he said that because, you know, he's not an entrepreneur, wonderful guy, hardworking guy, provides for his family. But I think the shift is that a lot of big companies are realizing, a lot of realtors, right? A lot of real estate people, you know, as you know, I moved over to EXP last fall, and it's a remote cloud-based brokerage, which allows you to earn higher commissions and recruit others and get paid. It was a no-brainer once I understood it. But one of the biggest objections, as I was talking to some people over these last 6 months or so, is, well, you know, I really like my office, and I really like going into the office, and, you know, I've reconnected with a handful of those people, and how's life? You know, you don't have your office anymore. So how is that working out? And what I think the whole point of this, Troy, people have adapted because they had no choice to learn how to be virtual, whether it's for a job or in business. What are you know, so you dropped out of college. I want to get back to that. What did you do as a profession before you really got into this 7-figure mark, which we'll talk about?
Yeah. You know, I started reading books about, you know, here's what my number one success tip is for people, is study success. So study, if somebody's in your field or a field you want to get into, study them, right? And so if you study them and watch their videos and read their books and listen to their audios and programs and attend conferences, you want to study success. So I started studying success, went into insurance, went into retirement planning, went into things that I felt like I could make a residual income, so that if something happened that was not in my control, I would continue to get offsetting income. Think about, do you want to be a tenant or a landlord? So think about if you have, you know, something happens and you're getting rental from your tenants, because you're a landlord, people are always going to need a place to live, right? Yep. So in that aspect, you want to think about what avenues could you get into where you can continue to make money, and so you can have security. And it's not, you know, it's not all about the money, but what I find is 80% of people's stress is financial. And when you can relieve that burden, you can go out and make a change and help other people. And then it's kind of your job to help them. You know, how did you become? It's kind of what you're doing now. So I went into retirement planning, then found other vehicles and technology.
Financial planner, basically, Troy? A financial planner, you would say?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a little different twist, retirement planning, but very similar. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And how long did you do that? I mean, obviously you were a young man at the point, and you're obviously no longer young anymore, like me.
You see the white in my beard?
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, look,
yes, yes.
dude, I
I
can't
had
even
hair.
hide mine. It's there. So
Yeah, I had hair when I started. So started back in 2002. So not quite 20 years, at the 18-year mark, and just got around some really sharp people. And when I learned about retirement planning, I didn't learn about money from financial planners. I learned about it from business owners. And so what I always tell people, it used to be you need, two income streams. Now I think you need multiple income streams. So not, a lot of people have a job, they might Uber later on.
Yeah.
But what I tell people is do something that you can do from home, make it a phone-based business, not just a home-based business. But do it something where the income is not all dependent on you. Okay. Just like if you work for a company and the owner doesn't come to his electrical contracting company because he's sick, he's got other people that work with him. And there's things that you can do to make money right from home now, because like you said, even in real estate, I think real estate has changed significantly. You better be in a real estate company that's the most advanced in technology, because let's just face it, people aren't going to conduct business like they used to.
No.
And if you look at kids these days, Brian, their social skills aren't as good as the people in their 40s and 50s and 60s, because they're all looking at their phone all day. And what happens, they're coming behind us and they're going to steal jobs from us because they're not going to do business the way we do. And we don't have to be scared of that. We have to understand, just like the virtual entrepreneur, things are going to go virtual. Things are going to be online. And I don't necessarily like that, but I have to accept it. And the fact that, everybody can take advantage and make some money from home. Think about this. Gum sales are down 30 to 40%. And it's not because people don't want to chew gum. It's just because the majority of gum is bought when you're in line. So you're looking around. Now people just look at their phones all days. So if you can get in a business where you can work from home or work from your phone and realize that people are working from their phone all day long, that's a virtual business. That's what your virtual entrepreneur is all about, is helping people realize that they can be home with the family, that they can make money at home, and they don't have to, it can be 5 minutes here, 20 minutes there. That's where the virtual entrepreneur, and I'm sure people are reaching out to you, as they should, because we need channels. Look, I'm not smart. My IQ, if you were to test my IQ, would be very low. Okay. I know I don't have a high IQ, but I'm smart enough to realize the most successful people in life are not the smartest. It's the people that adapt to change. Quite honestly, the majority of people that have businesses, their average grade is a C minus. So A students work for C students. But what we got to do is take the A student and have them apply the C student mentality. Is that, again, it's not the smartest people that make the money or have the most success. Not just about money, about success in life. It's the people that can adapt to change. So that's why I think people are tuning into the virtual entrepreneur, and what they want to learn from you, Brian Mara, is because you're helping people educate on, look, let me help you. Here's what we have. We want to help you adapt to change so you can do things that your eggs are not all in a one basket.
And that's what I love. And I know you know well about that. You've obviously proven that you can do that, do multiple different things. I mean, now you're working loosely through the real estate industry. We were talking about that with your girlfriend, still the retirement, financial planning, network marketing, which is what I want to talk about. When I first was exposed to network marketing, multi-level marketing, I was a kid. I was 18 years old. My uncle signed me up in Amway. Okay. And a month later,
that's a big negative word on this show, but go ahead. Right?
It is. I got to tell my story. It's the truth.
But it shouldn't. Go ahead, Bill. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it's funny because, not funny, but a month later is when I was diagnosed with cancer. So needless to say, I didn't make any money. I didn't try and, build a business or anything like that. But that was my first exposure to that. And the one thing I can say is the support system, the people that I was around. I never heard, prior to associating with those people, I didn't know who Dale Carnegie was, right? How to Win Friends and Influence People. I didn't know Napoleon Hill, right? Think and Grow Rich. All of these authors, all these success-minded, positive, motivational books. I didn't grow up in a family like that. I didn't grow up I wasn't around anybody who could have ever even recommended books like that to me. So for the year that I was in the hospital, going through all my treatments, et cetera, I just was absorbed in books and audio tapes. And back then they were cassettes, of course. And just really just educating myself on this whole new world of self-development and positive mental attitude and the power of your mind and just wonderful things. And I say all that because when I then got better, after the Lord healed me, which is a whole nother talk for another day, but I just went to work, man. I just started hustling. I was selling cars. I mean, I did everything. I mean, I mostly sales jobs, but all my entire professional life, I had been approached as I got better in sales, and I would always become, top salesperson or top 10 or whatever. So because of that, I was approached by a lot of these networking companies. You name it, I was approached, and I said no to every one. I just didn't understand. I didn't understand the power of leverage. I didn't understand. And frankly, I had my own preconceived ideas from what I was exposed to. And I'm a professional sales executive now. I'm not going to sell soap and vitamins. You understand? It was partly ego, right? And obviously being ignorant of some certain things. The way we connected through this network marketing company, the one that we're associated with now, New Life, it opened my eyes. You know what I mean? It opened my eyes because I saw top level investors. I saw top level surgeons and, politicians and high level people working in this industry. And I'm like, well, wait a minute, what am I missing here? The guy who brought it to me, Joe O, our good friend, high level guy, former stockbroker, very wealthy individual, owned a title company. What is he doing in a networking company? And so it forced me to pause and say, I'm 45, so I was 43 2 years ago. I'm like, what am I missing here? Maybe I ought to take a little look at this. And needless to say, it changed my life. You know what I mean? Not only to be able to meet people like you and network once again, but create a significant income stream. But tell us about your story and how you got involved in networking and why you would even be open to that being a very successful financial, retirement planner.
Well, I don't know, where else there's better opportunities. And if people stay, just could be open-minded for a minute, I just want you to think about this. Here I'm a guy in Maine, and I always felt like opportunities would be better if I was from Dallas, Texas, or Florida. And my self-esteem was already beat up. I don't want to say I was suicidal, but I was very depressed. And you see people thrive in Southern California, and, you don't really see people that are from Montana or North Dakota or Maine. That's where I am, right? In Maine. You feel like you're at an unfair advantage. And then the fact that I have a borderline learning disability, and I'm I wasn't educated in a school system for, I didn't know what I was going to do. How, where else can you go? Because if you start a business, you got to have capital, you got to have resources, you got to have a lot of financial backing, you got to have overhead insurances and distribution, you got to have an office and a brick and mortar. And, where else can you go where I can make brain surgery money? Have an investment that really isn't, that maybe is like a car payment, one car payment, right? And have all the tax write-offs, can do it when you want, with who you want, at home, at your phone, on the beach, wherever you travel. Where else can you go to do this? And I look at things as that, I think the misconception is you have to be good at sales, but most people that get involved in this industry really aren't going to be good at sales. Now, Brian, you're good at sales, but most people can't. So they have to have a system which allows them to thrive without being good at sales. It's like, I don't have to be good at Starbucks. The Starbucks in Maine tastes, I promise you, if you come to Maine, our Starbucks here tastes just as good as the same product as in New Jersey or, anywhere, New York. So it's the same thing. So you have to have a system. So I think the thing about is when you're recruiting, everybody recruits, okay? The best law firms recruit, the best schools recruit, colleges, athletes, professional teams, insurance agents. Okay. They're all always recruiting people. The best companies recruit people so the best school systems, the recruiting teachers, hospitals are constantly recruiting the best doctors. So my church, we just interviewed 50 something pastors and we got our first two choices. Okay. So we're recruiting, right? I'm recruiting members to the church. Oh, you got to come to the church with me. You got to meet some people. And when you're passionate about something, we recruit to a kid. I promise you, there's no monsters under the bed, right in the closet. That passion gives you energy, and when you really believe about what you're doing, it's easy to talk about, whether it's your church or your business. And so what I realized way back is that I learned that the secret to making money and not going broke. Let's just say you don't even want to make a lot of money, but you don't want to be nervous about not making your rent or mortgage. The secret to that is not to be dependent on your own efforts. The secret to that is to earn 1% off 100 different profit centers instead of 100% off yourself. And that's the secret, is that if you can share something with people and you can earn a percentage, just like if you own a Panera or McDonald's, you don't have to show up, right? Well, I could never afford a McDonald's at $500,000. Now I make more than people that own 2 McDonald's franchises, right? Or maybe more. So it's just that this industry allows you to work for yourself, but not by yourself. And when you think about it, it's going into an explosion. And Brian, I'll turn this back to you, but I think the reason why they attract so many great people like the Brian Maras, like yourself, is because you can do this part-time until it becomes a full-time income without quitting your job, with having the support, having the help. And I think that's why people are reaching out to you, is because you have systems in place where you can earn while you learn. That's what's great. They can work with someone like you and earn while you learn. And you have a number of different things that you can bring people to. We just happen to be connected with a company that has an amazing product, but you have other avenues that you can connect them with because you're an influencer. You're out there. So if people are reaching out to you, you can show them, multiple streams of things. You have a real estate background, and you flipped houses and bought things. And so you have a lot of, you have a product company like New You Life. There's a lot of things that people can reach out to you, and you can plug them into a system so they can be system dependent, not people dependent. And that's why I connected with you, is because you have great systems through your virtual entrepreneur.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I think the key is leverage, right? I mean, for example, my staffing company that I started, 20 years ago, I recently helped someone find a job because of my connection with that. Now, it wasn't placed in my company, but I was able to make a phone call and help them because they were out of work. Well, they can do this particular job remotely. It's actually one of my neighbor's friends, ironically. But the point being, and then of course you have real estate. I'm working on a large capital raise for an energy project. I think I talked to you about that in Southeast Asia. But yeah, and then of course there's the health and wellness company with New Life. So I am doing a lot of things, man. And I think that you have to, and I think that's one of the things that people have really woken up to these last, couple, 3 months with what we're all going through with this lockdown. I think that at the end of this, a lot of people, it's like anything, Troy. I mean, there's people there will be a small percentage of people who take this situation that was forced upon all of us and use it as a chance to better themselves, right? They're going to be reading those books that you talked about. They're going to be eating right, maybe doing home workouts in the basement or the garage, or going for a walk or a jog. And then there's other people that are going to gain 20 pounds. There's people who are going to start a home-based, or like you say eloquently, a phone-based business and create that extra income stream, the $500, $1,000 a month, just to take some stress off. And there's other people who will binge watch, Netflix 8 hours a day. So I think what I've learned is that we can continue to put the message out there, but it's really only going to be received by those who have ears to hear, right? It's not, you can't force someone to say, hey, why don't you stop watching so much Netflix and start a phone-based business, create an extra income stream for your family. Because if they're not interested in even looking at that as an option, they're just going to go back to TV and then continue to, bitch and moan on Facebook about why their life sucks. I'm not looking for that person. Neither are you. I don't want to work with people like that. Now, people can change, but until they're ready to change, I really have nothing. I could have all the opportunities, phone-based, home-based, staffing, real estate, MLM. I have plenty of ways for people to make money. But if they're not willing to change and to work, I got nothing for you. You know what I mean? Right. Let me ask you this. Where do you see things going from here? Obviously things have changed. And the one thing that I can't stand is when people talk about the new normal. Like, what does that even mean, the new normal? You think we're going to wear masks forever? Like, yes, we will get back to how things were. Will things be different? Yes. Fundamentally, things will change in business and in life. And I get that. I'm not denying that. But as far as business and moving forward, obviously you relocated recently, obviously to Las Vegas. We talked about that. But where do you see things going as far as business and people working from home? And what would you suggest people watching this, either with us live now or on the replay? What do you think they should do? What kind of tips would you give them?
Well, the first thing, I think you got to be open-minded. And I know change can be scary, especially the older we get. My eyes aren't as good as what they used to be. I even got to, set things up differently so I can read what's going on with changing and stuff. So number one, that you have to be open that there's another way. Okay. You have to understand that if you're not open to things being different, because, I had a chance to spend some time with Harvey Mackay, and Harvey Mackay and I were hanging out at a mutual friend's house, and he wrote the book. One of his best friends is Lou Holtz, and I had a chance to meet him. But he has a book called Dig Your Well Before You're Thirsty. Okay. I say dig your well before you're thirsty, but don't touch it. Okay. But it means that the decisions you make today, the decisions you made yesterday are impacting your life today. And your decisions you make today are going to impact it tomorrow. Okay. So, whatever happened in the past is the past. There's a reason why the rear view mirror is smaller than the windshield. We've got to look forward. Okay. Number one is you don't have to be smart. You don't have to be smart. You just have to accept that you want to make a change. Okay. You can't force someone to stop drinking alcohol, smoking cigarettes, or whatever it is, unless they realize they have an issue with it and they want help. You can help them all they want, but if they don't say, at least I admit I want some help, then there's nothing you can do. But if you're open-minded and saying, I can learn while I learn, and that I want to make some change, then you have an opportunity to make change. And then study success. Listen to not just Brian Mara, listen to the successful people in life, and understand that we are going to do business we all felt like Walmart and Target were going to eventually catch up to Amazon. Amazon is bigger than Walmart, Target, JCPenney, Sears, Best Buy. I can name a bunch of other stores, Nordstrom's put together. Those companies aren't even half the size of Amazon. Amazon's pulling away. Blockbuster didn't go out of business because Netflix was mailing you DVDs. Blockbuster went out of business because you would go to the store and, Star Wars again. Brian, honey, why Star Wars again? The kids have seen it. Because we could watch the same movie from a platform which is on our phone. So you have to understand that the way we do business is not going back, okay? Accept the fact there are change, and you're in early. You're so in early that you can understand that like commercial real estate is going down, it's going to sink because we're not, in the next time we have a school stoppage, they're going to be a lot more ready and equipped to do things from school than we were last time. And maybe we don't need these big $1 million schools. Maybe we need some good schools to send them to, but if something happens, there's going to be change and the platforms, the learning is going to change. So what I would say is find a business that you can work from home and doesn't have an impact if you have to move towards your folks to take care of them, or your folks have to move towards you. Find a business that you can do anything from the comfort of your home, because you're going to see all business, even real estate. People are like, well, how am I supposed to show a home in real estate? You're going to see that people are going to do virtual tours for 10 houses and they're going to pick 2. Okay. You're going to see things change completely. That's why these companies, like, you're onto it, man. You're connected with the most advanced technology real estate company in the world. So if you're in real estate, they should definitely reach out to you, because they're so far ahead of the Keller Williams and Remax and Century 21. Those companies, 30 to 50% of real estate offices will be out of business in 3 to 5 years, guaranteed.
They're all following the Blockbuster model.
They're in the Blockbuster model. And the people behind us. So what I would say is that understand that people want to hold their phones all day long. 70% of people take their phones into the bathroom every single time. 70%. So
I thought it was more like 98, actually.
You and I are part of that 70%.
What else are you going to do if you're sitting there, man?
So see, so now you can get, you say, well, what do I know? I didn't know anything. It's like, I didn't know anything. Someone taught me about this. And slowly I started making money from my home. And now I'm making money from my phone, and you can too. We are all going to go into making money. More and more people are going to be making money from home. It's so early on. Get into it. And here's the thing. Don't quit your job. Just make some extra money from home. And if it surpasses what you're making at your job, then you have choices. But make sure you're involved with a company that is spending a ton of money on technology. But even if you're with a company that's right now number one, you better have another thing you can fall back with, because what might be the number one company in the world today will be obsolete and out of business tomorrow. So have multiple streams of income.
Yeah, that's some very good advice. And, it's funny, a couple things. I was talking to my son about this. I have the triplets, the 17-year-olds. They'll be 18 in November. And, of course, they're actually going to be going into their senior year. We were talking about different things in life and everything. And it was my son, Vincenzo. He said to me, we're living through some very interesting times. He said, literally, like, you think about what the history books are going to talk about and what we're going through. I mean, this generation, he was talking about me, you, not him, of course. He was born in 2002, but he started talking about like 9/11 and how that fundamentally changed things, not only in this country, but in the world. From there on, all the things we've gone through, the great housing recession, now this whole coronavirus, and the shift to technology. He said to me, and it's funny, he said, I never really thought about it, Dad. He goes, but when you were growing up, you didn't have a cell phone. I said, no, man, because they didn't exist. You know what I mean? No, I had a Commodore 64 computer, okay? The phone was attached in my house with a wire, and there was a physical box called an answering machine. And just talking to him about this stuff, and then my other son, he's like, did you have one of those Walkmans too, like where the cassette tape went in? I said, yes, I did. So, but to them, it's funny, and like you said, they're growing up in this whole different paradigm of technology and I don't even know where the heck my phone is, but like being in your face 24/7, which again, like Gary Vee says, I mean, it's good and bad. I mean, there's all these parents out there saying, oh, I don't want my kids on technology too much. Well, you know what? Deal with it, because that's the future. But at the end of the day, man, yeah, we are in some interesting times, but there are greater opportunities in times of crisis than when things are just going great. So now it's like, all these changes, all these situations we're living through, it also presents one of the greatest times for numerous different opportunities, whether it's in, real estate or networking or all the different things people can do. So, Troy, thank you for your time today.
Can I just say one more thing?
Please, yeah.
I think you're going to find some people that there's going to be one or two areas. They're going to say coronavirus was really hurt my family. It hurt my income. We have credit card debt like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
We lost our home. We ran out of food, literally. And you're going to hear other people have the exact same story. Exactly. But they're going to say it also made a huge impact in my life, where I changed completely, adapted, and look at everything I have. I've been able to give money to my church. I've been able to help my family. I've been able to help my friends. And it's because of, whether it's, something that negative happened. It doesn't have to be coronavirus, okay? But what I'm saying, sometimes something dramatic has to happen for you to take a look at something, okay? For you to change, something dramatic has to happen sometimes. And sometimes people, even in a marriage, or maybe they're in a bad situation, and, whether it's domestic violence, abuse, sometimes things have to happen so radical and be so bad, but it forces you to take a look at another avenue. And sometimes what appears to be the end is often a wonderful new beginning. You look at Moses, why am I in Egypt? You told me to come to Egypt. You told me to come to Egypt. Well, now, God, you're telling me to leave. You're telling me to leave the place I started. So don't be afraid of change. We've seen things change. I talked to my pastor, you see a lot of things that are changing even at church. And sometimes you don't have to change the message, but you have to change the way the message is delivered. And so don't be afraid of something, because you can earn while you learn. You can inspire, you can grow, you can impact. And you may be down now, but you're not. You're a champion, and you're going to get back up. And if you're watching this, and you know, the floor is no place for a winner. You can win. You can start something new. There's a lot of people in worse situations than you that had it way worse, and they climbed and they persevered. Just like you, Brian, who battled cancer. What were you, stage 4 cancer? There is no stage 5. There is no stage 5 cancer. And you beat it and you battled it, and now you're making an impact on other people's lives. And I just congratulate you. And I'm going to be tuning into the Virtual Entrepreneur, you know, all the time, because I want to learn. I want to learn from you and all your guests that you have. And you truly want to help people. You truly want to make a change in the lives of others. And that's what's going to happen at the end. God's going to ask us, who did you impact? You know, who did you make grow? And you're someone like that. And that's why I follow you. So thank you for having me on here. God bless.
Well, ditto, my friend. And that's the whole thing about the association, surrounding myself with people like you, leaders of men, all the thousands of people that you've influenced and touched their lives in a positive way. And like we talked about earlier, we're both just getting started. So on that note, thank you, Troy. God bless you. God bless all of you who are watching. Thank you for everything. Have a great weekend. Tune in again next week for our next guest, and we'll talk to you guys soon. I'll see you. See you, Troy.
God bless. Bye-bye.